When you ask your favorite creators what camera they shoot on, they are probably not recommending this one. In fact, up until recently, when the ZR came on the scene and mixed things up a little bit, they probably were not even recommending you a Nikon, which does make me feel a little bit ahead of the curve. But seriously, look at this thing. Absolutely gorgeous, yes. And in fact, it looks just like a film camera until you pull this little flippy outy screen around. But it's also very heavy and impractical. And yet it sparks so much joy in me that in the 2 years that I've had this in my hands, I have shot more content than I ever have in my entire content creation career. So much so that I had to go buy a NAS to deal with all of my storage problems. Now the thing is, this camera, the Nikon ZF, or ZF if you're American, is actually quite beloved amongst photographers. But as far as I can tell, absolutely no one is using it for vlogging, and very few people are using it for video. So am I the crazy one here? I mean, I have been out here vlogging primarily on a 40mm lens, so you tell me. Now, before we get too deep into the weeds here, because I definitely like to get lost in them, know that as much as I love to geek out about gear, this is not a specky gear review channel. I am just a content creator who really loves gear and likes to talk about it really chaotically to give some more real life insight into how I'm using it, in the hopes that it might resonate with someone, inspire them, or just help them on their gear buying journey. And this video is not sponsored, but Nikon Canada did send me this almost 2 years ago now, and it was absolutely a highlight of my career. And I've come to rely on it so much, using it to document my move here to Hong Kong, helping me grow my new vlog channel, make videos for this channel, to the point where I just sold my arguably more convenient camera, the Canon RP, and the 5 lenses I had invested in over the past 5 years, just so I could double down in the Nikon ecosystem. Okay, we're actually back shooting on the Nikon ZF. The last couple shots were on my friend's Sony a7C because I wanted decent 4K footage of me actually holding up the camera, but this just feels so much more me. Now, if you're not familiar with the Nikon ZF hype and hate train, I want to talk about why this camera is not marketed as a video camera, despite it being Nikon's very first full-frame camera to feature the video-focused flippy outy screen. Like really though, I think Nikon really confused people with this choice. You have this beautiful vintage-inspired body, and yet it featured a screen that most photographers would say does not work for their use case. This left a lot of reviewers asking, who is this camera for? And I have the answer. The answer is me. This camera is meant for me. A hybrid shooter who loves photography, but because of the way content creation has moved, has transitioned into the realm of video, and who wants their gear to feel like a beautiful extension of themselves and their brand, and who definitely needs to be able to see themselves while they film. So this camera's build was inspired by the now vintage Nikon FM2, a film camera. And that fact alone is very enticing to photo lovers. The nostalgia of the overall aesthetic, the tactile manual exposure settings that are made of brass and click when you change them. The switch on the back that lets you rapidly flip back and forth between black and white photo taking and color. A switch that I might add is for photo only, not video. Like if you ask me, it's pretty easy to see how somebody would fall in love with this camera. But if you are a modern shooter who's just looking for a piece of gear to get the job done, offer you high quality content, you're probably not going to be lured in by this camera because its beauty does come with a couple caveats. The first being the weight and ergonomics of this camera. And this is one that photographers themselves actually complain a lot about online, but it is why so many video creators tend to just straight up write off this camera. Because the camera is built with such high quality materials, it is heavy. And because it has a vintage design, it is not very ergonomic. It doesn't have a hand grip on it like you might see with DSLR or mirrorless cameras of today to counteract that weight. To the point where a lot of people have actually invested in this little screw-on grip to give you something to hold on to. I actually had no intention of buying this, but I was recently at a camera store and he sold it to me for very cheap. And I thought, okay, maybe if my husband's helping me with shooting for a long period of time, I could put this on and it could give his fingers a break. But overall, I find that it wrecks the look and kind of defeats the purpose of having this sleek, retro looking camera. But this is something that people invest in to make the Nikon ZF more easy to handle. But I will say that photographers in general may have a lot more like wiggle room with what they can tolerate in terms of weight and ergonomics. Because I would say, especially if you are a street photographer, you're not necessarily always walking around with your camera up to your face like this. You're not holding it the whole time. Your camera might be more often on a wrist strap or a neck strap, allowing you to spread out some of the weight, and then you're only lifting it when you're ready to snap those photos. I find, at least when I'm shooting video, I am actually holding up my camera for longer stretches of time. And especially people who might be shooting more traditional style vlogs where you're holding up what feels like a mini dumbbell at the end of your arm with nothing really to hold on to is not super ideal. And the next caveat I would say is the cost. It's not that I don't think the price of this camera is worth it, because again, the build quality alone, like we haven't even got into what's going on within the camera. We're gonna get there in a second, but the materials that went into building this camera do naturally raise the price. And when I talk to most content creators, especially vloggers, who are looking to kind of level up their gear, they are wanting to do so as cheap as possible. And they're also looking for something that is on the lighter side. Now, with all that being said, tell me why, for a camera that has wooed photographers so to the point that it was back ordered for months on months on months, and actually the other color variations of this have been sold out for what feels like eternity. Because yes, I was at one point considering getting myself a second ZF, this one in green or burgundy. Why did Nikon have to go so hard on the video settings? 4K 30 footage, downsampled from 6K, no crop. I'm looking at you, Canon RP. 1080 up to 120 frames per second. That's slow-mo footage. 10-bit footage that can shoot in N-Log, which I will admit I got super excited about because I was gonna learn how to color grade my footage and all of that. But 2 years in, I still haven't tested it out. And 2 hours continuous recording. Do I need that for vlogging? No, but I do actually make use of it a lot in these talking head style videos, because although my videos are not 2 hours long, I'm a lot more awkward than I look, and it takes a lot of takes for me to be able to say things the right way. Autofocus is really solid. Stabilization does leave a little bit to be desired. Like, it's no iPhone footage, it's not my Insta360 Go Ultra, but it's not trying to be. And as somebody who is coming from the Canon RP, the potential of what this camera could do blew me away. It got me so incredibly excited. But it's funny because now that I actually have this camera, the only thing I've really used it for is shooting 4K uncropped footage, which means actually that I have a lot of room to grow into with it, which is something that really excites me. Like, I'm not looking for an upgrade anytime soon. But this camera tapped into a whole other emotional, aesthetically driven side of me that I didn't know I could feel about a piece of gear. Like, have I told you how beautiful this camera is? And maybe I am a little bit more superficial than I thought, but there's this weird thing that happens that inspires you to create more when you have beautiful things to create with. It's like how people buy new workout gear and feel suddenly way more motivated to work out. It's kind of like how I'm currently convinced that the purple iMac will make me infinitely more productive. But when I'm out and about, this camera feels like an extension of me. It feels like part of my outfit, and it's simultaneously a conversation starter and super inconspicuous. On one hand, when I show up to events with it, or I'm walking around in a more social environment with this camera, I always get compliments on it and questions, as people are usually confused by what I'm holding. Their instinct usually tells them it's a film camera, but I seem to be holding it and panning and shooting things like a video camera. And I always love this because it tends to usually draw out people who are in love with photography and it always makes for this super cool bonding moment. And on the flip side, when I said it's inconspicuous, it's because people who aren't into photography kind of don't even really notice it. Like, it doesn't draw a lot of extra attention to itself because people tend to think I'm just casually taking film photos rather than carrying around this like pretty powerful piece of video equipment, which actually makes it more easy to take more candid shots of things because people are more at ease. And I can get my camera into places that tend to be a bit more anti-professional gear. And I want to just circle back to those mechanical settings again, because while they are primarily designed with photographers in mind, I shoot absolutely everything in manual, video included. I was a little bit lazy with this video though, so I haven't been monitoring the lighting, shifting and stuff, but it is what it is. And I just really love the audible click, click, click as everything falls into place. It's an act that makes me actually slow down and take a bit more care and think about what I'm doing and what I'm shooting. I feel like there's something psychological that happens that makes you feel more connected to the process when you have to do more to get the output you want. And then there's the ergonomics and the inconvenience of it all. And for me, it actually doesn't get in the way at all. I actually carry this camera around with me more than I have any other camera. My Canon RP was technically lighter, and for some reason that just felt like more of a hassle to take out with me. Again, I don't know what type of psychological things are at play there. But I didn't pack much with me when I moved to Hong Kong, but I did pack every single camera bag that I own. And so between that and having the Peak Design wrist strap on it, I literally take this camera everywhere. And despite it being technically heavy, the wrist strap gives me a lot of confidence that I'm not going to drop it. And so I tend to just walk with it kind of dangling between my fingertips. But I do actually want to invest in some leather camera straps that I've seen on Etsy that are so gorgeous, but that's a rabbit hole for another day. And I do want to address the elephant in the room. I said that I use this camera for vlogging, and I also said that I vlog with a 40mm lens, or at least I previously did before adding the Tamron 28-75, as well as the Laowa 10mm. And that always shocks people because they're like, how on earth are you holding this camera out and filming yourself, vlogging? Doesn't your arm get tired? Isn't that too close to your face? And I think that we're in an era of YouTube that we can probably stretch our definition of vlogging, or maybe reframe our definition of vlogging, because most of the time I'm actually just propping up my camera somewhere. I've got it on a tripod with me. I'm still taking it out and about. I'm balancing it on random surfaces and just documenting, video logging aspects of my life. My style of vlogging is a lot slower, and I aspire for it to be a bit more cinematic, which again is why this camera makes the perfect partner for this. Like I said, it allows me to slow down, and I'm not really doing run and gunning style vlogging where I'm carrying it out like this, holding it to my face the whole time. So again, hasn't been an issue for me. I have seen a lot of the DJI Osmo Pocket hype, and sometimes I've thought okay, I wonder if I had that, would I get more shots of me talking to the camera? Would I get more vlog shots on the go? And it's kind of funny, there are a lot of people with that camera here in Hong Kong, and when I watch them filming, it's not as inconspicuous as people tend to think it is. Somebody's holding that, I absolutely know they're filming. I know what they're doing. And like I said, half the time that I'm carrying this about, people don't even know what's going on. And if I don't have the flippy out screen going on, they don't even know I'm filming myself. Sometimes the best piece of equipment for you isn't going to be determined by reviews or by what everyone else is using. It's the piece of equipment that encourages you to create more. I'm really excited for another year ahead of vlogging and to catching up on putting together all of the footage I've gathered over the past year. It's been 6 months since I last uploaded on my vlog channel, and I'm also looking forward to continuing to grow more into this camera. Maybe this time next year, I'll be shooting an N-Log and color grading my footage. Thanks for watching, and until next time.